in this day and age, we fight so hard to try to make our relationships work. And no matter, for so many of us, no matter how hard we try, our relationships still continue to struggle. And different things happen in the relationships that feel very uncomfortable, that don't feel right. They make you question whether you could stay in that relationship or whether it's something that you should even be doing long term. Um, Oftentimes, like the comments that I get are, I'm not going to live this way, or I shouldn't have to choose between being disrespected and um, and being in this relationship. Like those ideas just come up constantly, I think, for a lot of people inside of their relationship. And so, what happens to get our relationships to go that way? And then how do we switch it over? Well, I think us understanding the reason that it gets that way is probably the thing that will actually give us the answer for how we do it differently. So the first thing that happens is um, a lot of times when we go to get in a relationship, we get in a relationship because of um, there's a lot of different reasons, but I'll go with the reason that I think ends us in challenges. We get in a relationship because it feels good in the moment, um, and we want to push through and try to have something that's taking us away from whatever hardship we are in life, which uh, usually to me, that's an honorable way of pursuing a relationship. You've been going through it in life, you've been going through it, and then you meet this person who seems to be a relief and shows up in a way that's kind of like a saving grace, somebody who can really help put a smile on your face and create a different kind of mood for you. And then the relationship moves on, and that person no longer is that thing. And so we get kind of frustrated with that, because what brought us maybe into the relationship isn't what is going to actually carry us through. And so it's really human nature for us to start relationships like that. But that's the struggles. We start a relationship like that, and it's just about what that person has brought to us, and the energy that they start, that we feel like they're generating inside of us, that is helpful. And so that's the first thing, is we go into a relationship like that. What makes that the issue? Well, what makes that the issue a lot of times is we haven't dealt with all the things that we needed to be able to create a relationship. And so we're running, then we see this relief. But so if we go to the picture in my mind, just so you guys could be clear, like let's say we're running from something, some like a tiger or a bear or whatever, and we go inside, we find a house, right, to get inside. And meanwhile, the bear is still walking outside. So while it feels good to have that relief at first, and we're in there, at some point in time we got to leave, but we can see that bear still lingering around, and it gets to a point where that bear lingering around makes us as unhappy um, as we were outside running from it, now that we're even inside, right? So I like that picture. You can put that in your mind for so a lot of times what goes on in our relationships. It's not bad that we're in the house. The idea is that we haven't dealt with the thing that was chasing us to begin with, and we went in the house to get security, but that doesn't change what we're experiencing, because we're not really relieved. So the challenge is for us to be able to know that we haven't dealt with all of the pieces that brought us into this scenario. We haven't dealt with that bear or lion or whatever it is that's chasing you on the outside of the house. And so that's the first thing that I think happens. And so after that, we don't have a recipe. And so the second thing that I think goes on is we don't have a recipe for really how to even be in relationships. It's the correct recipe. And so we're going to go over how to be in relationships. It's the correct recipe. But where did you learn how to do relationships? Where did you learn what it would take for you to be able to be in a relationship and create a scenario that means there's respect and that you're building each other up and that you're working together? And so we just don't know how to do that scenario. And then the last thing that I think that happens whenever it comes time to us just ending up in a relationship where it's disrespectful and it's not so comfortable is we let those two things predict the future for us, like what this scenario will become, right? Instead of us being more into what's going on the inside, we're really focused on, okay, if I'm in this scenario, it's only going to turn out this way, right? If I'm in this scenario, it's only going to turn out this way. And so in our relationships, we're so focused on how it's going to turn out that we're missing a lot of times some of the moments and opportunities that we can to be able to create what it is that we want. Okay. So I'm starting to get into already some of the answers, and the flip of all of those are the answers. And so what do we need to do? If you're going to change what's going on inside of your relationship, the first thing is you need to be able to go back and do some of the inside out work. That means process the things that you're going through. You have to deal with the bear who's going around the house constantly waiting for you to come back outside. You have to deal with that. You have to figure out what the solution is for you. And some of that means for you to process things that you don't even want to touch or go into. Some of it means that you just need to be willing to acknowledge that it's there. There's a lot of different ways, but you're going to have to go back and deal inside out with those scenarios. The second thing is the idea that you would go into a relationship kind of knowing that this person brings you something is only one part of the equation. So what is the recipe for success in relationship, and how should we think of relationship? Well, we have to think of the relationship different. Like our relationship is a service opportunity. It's not for somebody to come and be able to serve us. That may be what happens, but that's not what we should focus on in our relationship. So even though we get into a relationship because they bring us something, because that person brought us some kind of feeling, that's not going to be sustainable. You're going to have to increase your amount of service in the relationship. And the only way that you can do that is work on the inside so that you can be better and be able to produce more service opportunity, or produce when the service opportunities are there for you. Okay. And then finally, the idea that our relationship would be something that is a struggle for us makes sense. So we can't get too far ahead of what this moment is. And so if you have a struggle in your relationship and you think like, I won't be able to last in the future because of whatever the struggle is now, it's unfair to you, it's unfair to your relationship, and maybe it's even unfair to your partner for you to project what it will become instead of believing in like, here's my opportunity at this moment to do the work that I need to do to grow the things that I want to grow. And so if you start predicting negative things will be the outcome, then you're going to raise anxiety in the relationship, and then it starts being an uncomfortable and disrespectful place for you to be in. So you have to change your mind over. I think if you're able to do those three things, you see that your relationship does not have to be a place of disrespect. Your relationship does not have to be a place that's uncomfortable for you to be in it. Instead, it could be a place where you can grow as a person, where you can grow your relationship, and where you can serve somebody else at a high level so they can do the same. All right, you guys, take care, and we'll talk to you soon.